could not be prouder of a bunch of guys in the locker room than I am tonight. I mean that. I am ecstatic with that locker room tonight. Our effort, we set out to play really, really hard, guard, and rebound basketball. And we felt like we had to do that against a team that we knew was one of the better defensive teams in the country. Their DER last year was off the chart. I think they were .85 points per possession. They're disruptive. And that's a really bad feeling when your top three primary ball handlers are not in the lineup. And then the best center in college basketball, the best player in college basketball is not in the lineup either. So we found a way. It was ugly. We fought. We competed. We got off to a great start. I'm so happy with DeMonte. His numbers don't reflect how well he played, how well he led, and then I thought Jacob Grandison was spectacular, and Jake took over in a stretch, and you see what he's added to his game with his off the bounce game, you know, my hat goes off to Ben. Ben goes against Kofi every day, and you know, I thought his defensive prowess, I thought his tenacity, I thought his rebounding, 5 offensive, he's just kind of a bull in the china closet type mentality, was impactful, and you know, then we got good minutes from our freshmen, and it's always good for them to get their feet wet. But give Jackson State a lot of credit. They disrupted us. They made it very hard to run anything. But we managed, and I'll put my head on a pillow tonight knowing we played really hard, and I'm glad to escape the win with everything that's gone on here in the last 7-8 days.
Jeremy?
Brad, do you have an update on Trent and Austin and Andre?
No.
Okay.
If they're here Friday, we'll play them. If they're cleared, if they're not, then we'll show up with the same group we've got today. Is there any way I can get water?
Go ahead.
Obviously, it's a disrupted start to the exhibition and now this game. How does that impact your team over the next week as you start to ramp up games here?
Yeah, I mean, I can only coach the group I've got. And I've always looked at that stuff that way, stuff I don't have any control over. You know, if they're back, they're back, and we'll integrate them in practice. They're obviously All-Americans. You know, you've got 2 Naismith Wooden Award finalists, you've got the Defensive Player of the Year, and you got a guy who led us in scoring in our first exhibition game in Hutch that all aren't in. So if I have them, I have them. If I don't, I don't. And Jeremy, I can't look at it any other way than that. I'm going to coach the guys I had just like I did today.
Go ahead, Doug.
Coach, box score shows 65 possessions for you guys. Did you play at the pace that you had envisioned playing at?
It's like having no quarterback. We just tried to scrap through it, to be very honest with you, and it wasn't very pretty. There's not going to be a lot we're going to gain out of that offensively. There's going to be some lessons to learn, because I didn't think we were very physical. But no, you know, you take the best point guard in the country out of what you do, and then you take your number one option, who's Kofi, out of what you do, and all of a sudden you've got, you know, take your top wide receiver and your top quarterback out and try to figure out how to score. You know, things become problematic in a hurry, and that's why I am so proud. You guys have no idea how proud I am of that group in there tonight.
Okay.
Coach, can you tell us, for every good thing that Coleman Hawkins does, 2 or 3 or 4, then there's the behind the back pass. How hard is it to coach that? You look frustrated at times, but then you look happy.
I think it's just maturation. You know, it's just you know, my expectation for Coleman's probably a lot higher than his is. He has no idea how good he's going to be. No idea. And we just got to tighten. He's got to tighten things up. I got to get him to tighten things up. And you know, it's sometimes just making the simplest play. And when he sets down guards, he's elite. twice tonight he jumped up. That's one of the things I'm really disappointed in was our 3-point percentage we gave up. And, you know, he just didn't close out with a hand up. Those are things we practice every day and we rep every day, and it's just an attention to detail that we'll get him right.
Brad?
Coach ran a lot of spread offense in the first half. How long, usually when Bello's out there, you don't run a lot of, how many days have you been working on the spread?
4 days, 5 days. You gotta run something when you don't have a point guard. I mean, you saw Coleman bring the ball up, you saw Plummer with it, you saw, you know, Jacob with it. I mean, DeMonte, you saw, I mean, it was literally, you've gotta try to run something to get you in offense when you know you can't ball screen. DeMonte picks up 2 fouls in the first half, and I mean, it was an automatic for us to go to spread when DeMonte was out tonight. Now, I did build a lot of confidence tonight in Plummer and his decision-making as that went on. So kudos to that young man, because he played a lot of minutes and did a lot of really positive things.
Alec?
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned BBB in your intro and how proud of him you were. He's had a really difficult path, and that's not really a secret, in and out of the walking boot. How proud of you are him, or how?
Ecstatic. I mean, I think we've you know, it's well documented his foot injuries and his all the challenges he's had staying healthy. But you know, he spends as much time or more in the gym than anybody. He's completely bought into Fletch, and that part of it. You see how strong he is, and I'm really happy for him to be able to take that next step, and that was get significant minutes and impact winning. And he guards Kofi every day. He's a guy I got a lot of confidence in at that end of the court.
Scott?
Jake had a pretty strong start to the second half. Did that just provide some stability coming out of the break?
Yeah, it was the whole idea. It's what we talked about at halftime, just kind of getting him going. He played a little choppy in the first half because of foul trouble. He got off to a good start. He was energetic. He was involved. You know, and then you know we tried to run a little backdoor play to start the second half, and they took it away. But then we came back and ran 3 or 4 actions right back at him to get him going, and we put him in a high shake. Because he's a really good 3-point shooter, and they tagged off of him, and he hit a couple threes. So, yeah, it was game planned in the second half to try to definitely get him moving down the tracks in a little positive way for us.
Derek?
Coleman's playing with a lot of outward confidence. I know that you've tried to find that balance. You haven't had a problem with guys playing with swagger in the past. What's the right mix for him, or what does that bring, just kind of the way he's playing?
Yeah, I think the right mix is when the officials don't come up and tell me they're going to tee him up if he doesn't shut up. I think it's pretty simple. I think that we've always had swagger about us, but we've done it without arrogance and without really kind of a showmanship mentality. And you know, he's we got to help him. We got to help him. And I love his arrogance, and I mean his confidence. I love how good he thinks he is. And but you know, we've just got to tighten that up, and you know, we'll get that right.
Joey?
I don't want to go back to Ben. I mean, just how did you help him in these last 2 years? I mean, it seemed like it was a step forward and then a step back. I mean, how do you coach a kid through those setbacks that just kind of seem to keep coming out?
Well, first of all, he's a really, really high character kid. You know, he's a guy that's not going to. No coincidentally, is, you know, almost a 4-point student. He's a guy that you just get him to believe in the process, and whatever that process has taken him, it's taken him down some you know, some U-turns, some speed bumps, you name it. It has not been a smooth one, but just keep moving forward, and good things happen to those who work hard. And we preach that, and that young man has continued to work. He's got a very he's a very driven young man, and at times we've had to back him off that, but his dedication to being a good player is never wavered.
Yeah, Coach, I also wanted to ask you about Alfonso Plummer. You hit on him a little bit. I had never seen in his film the ability to make some of the passes that he made tonight. I know he had one really good one on a backdoor cut. What have you seen out of his playmaking ability in practice that maybe you didn't see on Utah film?
Yeah, I mean, I think we get surprised. One, Plum works really hard, and he's a guy that spent a lot of this summer working on his ball handling, working on his decision making. Everybody fears him because of his shooting. That was no different tonight. I mean, they were face guarded. You start adding that, gain a lot of confidence in me. We haven't had to have him do a ton of it because of Trent, because of Bello, but now I feel pretty good about it.
Brad, I know offensively you had to make chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what, but in transition, is Coleman taking the ball off the glass with the basketball something that could stay consistent throughout November, December, January, February, all that kind of stuff?
If Curbelo and Trent are in, no. If we don't ever have those guys again, probably. He's got the ability to do that, but finding that boundary of where's too deep, where's too much, and sometimes just making simple plays, and that's where we've got to deal with that. Get that right.
Coach, 16 minutes for Luke Goody, 18 minutes for Melendez. Was that out of necessity, or do you see them continuing to be able to help the team once you're back at full strength?
Both. Tyler's 8th year, we can't give him eligibility. He would have probably played, and Patrick Biddle won a championship with the managers. He can really shoot and really play, but we didn't have a lot of other guys, so no, we need those guys. We got to have those guys, and they've both been really good in practice, and I'm excited about the ceiling of those guys.
Coach, I have to ask, Curbelo hurt his head 2 minutes into the exhibition game, went out, came back in, and now is in concussion protocol. Are you at all concerned about the advice you're getting from medical staff of, players coming back in with possible issues? Io last year at Michigan State was an issue as well.
No, I mean, we've got great medical people. They only know what they have in front of them, and Bello said he was fine and got through the game fine, and was literally, symptoms happen at different points for different guys. I don't think there's a true status as to, hey, I got hit in the head. Sometimes it happens in a delayed fashion. Sometimes it happens right away. So, last year when Curbelo got hit, Kofi clocked him and, pretty much knocked him out. So, we had an idea then, but, everything's a little different. But I'm completely sold on everybody we've got and the representation with which, we get those matters handled.
Scott.
You talked about rebounding a lot yesterday, and McKenna's got 12, but to win the battle by 20 and from everybody, is that how do you do that?
Next man up, and it was the only thing that I really challenged our guards because I wanted our guards to get back in and dig and rebound. That was one of the great things that we had last year. We had guys digging in rebounds, and we lose a great rebounder in Curbelo. And Curbelo led us in rebounding, I think, the last 7 games in total rebounds. So, it was, I think we had 22 points and 21 rebounds from Kofi's spot. I'll take that. A pretty good night to replace college basketball's best player, and pretty productive, and we knew we had to win that battle. We knew we had to get on the offensive glass. We got over 50% of our misses back, and we knew in an ugly game we had to figure out how to score, and we found a way.
Derek.
You talked a lot recently about Coleman's ultimate upside. What do you think that is defensively, and was that closeout block in the corner a flash of what that includes?
Yeah, all that. He's smart. He's really intelligent. He's got a really, really high IQ. And it's just about the discipline to do it every single time. And he's getting there. Believe me, he's not far off. And he's, when we put him out there with Bello and Trent and DeMonte and Jake and Kofi, and I mean, there's another elite defender. He's not the weak link, and that's the challenge, is to make him that kind of guy who can guard not just a 3 or a 4, but can guard a 2, can guard a 1, can get in a switch, guard a 5 if we're playing there. You know, he's never going to be the most physical guy, you know, in terms of weight, but he's a guy with great length and great anticipation, and you know, you just saw him take a 2 or 3 step sprint and just go block a shot, and he's got great